W&J's Handy Dad here. Today we're doing probably my least favorite job, which is changing the transmission fluid and filter. It's messy, smelly, keeps you underneath the car a lot. Just not fun. But I'm going to show you how to do it as easily as possible. So there's the transmission pan. And you see, I'm lucky enough, I actually have a drain plug on mine. I don't know if the PD installed that or if that came from the factory. That makes the job a whole lot easier to do. I'll be able to drain first and it won't be quite as messy. If you don't have the drain plug, then basically you're going to have to skip to what's going to be my step 2 to get your fluid out, which, like I said, is very messy. I'm going to show you a little trick. If you spray air down the filler tube, you can actually get more fluid out. Right now, nothing's coming out. You put air, it's about 10 psi. And then there's the transmission pan. It has bolts all the way around it. Basically, if you aren't lucky enough, there's my drain plug. To have the drain plug, then what you want to do is go ahead and remove the bolts from one side. Make sure you have your drain pan under, because sometimes just removing one, it'll start losing fluid. And then start loosening toward the opposite direction. So like for me, I'm going to start here in the front, remove those 4, and then I'll start loosening a little bit at a time, a couple turns at a time, going back around. You don't want to remove the last bolts so you've got most of the fluid out, because it's, like I said, it's going to drain out rapidly and very messily, and it's hard to catch it all. So all of the bolts are pretty easy to access except for the back 2. And so what you need is a small socket with an extension that you can squeeze in there. And that's how you get them out. So you see, as you start to loosen the final bolt, you see how the pan starts separating. So if you don't have a drain pan at this point, fluid will be pretty much gushing out of there. So I got my drain pan under there. Of course, with the drain plug, it made it cleaner and there's nothing leaking out. The other thing is, once you take that last bolt out, you want to be supporting the pan so it doesn't just fall on you, and then just kind of try to lower it out of there without losing any fluid. And this is what it looks like once you take the pan off. You see I've got the pan there, letting it catch the drippings since it's the right shape to do it. And there'll be quite a bit of transmission fluid that just kind of drips out of here. So if you have paper towels and stuff, that makes it a little bit cleaner. Once you have the pan off the car, you want to make sure you clean it out very thoroughly, get all the fluid out. And also, you notice this magnet over here, it will collect a lot of dirty metal. You need to get that clean as well. So if you want to spray it with brake clean or Dawn and water or whatever to get this cleaned and degreased, you want this whole thing clean and dry before you put it back in the car. Now you want to check your pan. See, mine says pan is equipped with a reusable gasket, so I'm going to reuse the gasket that was on there rather than using the flimsy looking cork gasket that came with the replacement filter. This is the gasket that comes with the filter, so obviously not near as high a quality as the reusable one. So I'll save this in case I ever have any leaks. And then there's the new filter. So the key is, when you remove the old filter, to make sure that that gasket comes off with it and doesn't stay in the car. If it does, you got to get that out before you put the new one in. Then installation is just the reverse or removal. Just push this in and put this back on. We're gonna start putting in the bolts kind of loosely, and then we'll start crisscross tightening them a little bit at a time until we get to the torque setting. Alright, so I'm going to blot up some of this fluid so it's not draining all over us. And then pull the filter out. It appears that the old gasket got stuck in there, so I'll get that out. And once I get the old gasket out, I've already put some clean fluid on the new gasket, then it's just going to pop straight into there. Alright, so I'm going to use a plastic tool, not a screwdriver, to try to pry that out of there. It was not coming out with fingers only. There it goes. That's real important to get that out, so you don't want to have two of those stuck up there. Installation, like I said, I already put some clean fluid on there to help that slide in. It should just pop straight in. Now we're ready to put the pan back on, so we'll slide it into place and start torquing the bolts down a little bit at a time. Alright, then we're just going to put the pan back on. We've got the gasket lined up. It only goes on one way, so if you're struggling, flip it over. So once you've threaded all of them on by hand, then we're going to tighten them a little bit in a crisscross pattern, get them just kind of snug to where it's holding the pan up like that, and then we'll go back to the torque wrench and do it to the proper torque. So you just want to torque them down, kind of crisscross. The setting, according to my manual, is 12 to 16. I'm going to do 15 foot-pounds. And there's your 15 when it clicks. And then just want to make sure that you didn't miss any of them. Then lastly, make sure if you have a drain plug that you retighten it. Now the refill process is pretty straightforward. We're just going to pour it right down where the dipstick goes. It makes it easier if you've counted how much came out when you drained yours. Mine took out about 5 quarts, so I'm going to put about 5 quarts in. Then we're going to get it to a level surface with the engine running and warm, and we'll check the dipstick and make sure that the fluid between those two spots there. Also, because I've got just a teeny tiny bit left in this can, I'm going to go ahead and pour this in first. Crown Vic uses Mercon V transmission fluid. That's for a very wide range of years. I'll put the years up on the screen, and I'll put the years that don't use Mercon V and what they actually use. And these bottles are designed to pour in this fashion, not in this fashion, in case you're wondering. I road tested it, it's shifting good, it's warmed up. Final check just to make sure the fluid's in the right spot. Pour your dipstick, clean it off. Insert it fully, and pull it and check it. between the dots, and we're good. If it was too low, I could add a little bit. If it was too high, I could drain a little bit. That's one advantage of having a drain plug. If you don't have a drain plug and you don't want to have to pull the pan again, you can siphon directly from the fill hole. If you've got one of those siphon pumps with the hose, you stick the hose down in there and siphon out what you need. I'll tell you, I'm glad I did this. It really felt strong, shifting a lot better than it has been in recent weeks. So I think it was definitely time for the filter change. Hope the video was helpful. Appreciate a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already, and please tell your friends about my channel. Thank you very much.